Hey everybody, it's Norm from Tested. I'm here at Comic-Con San Diego 2024, here at the Factory Entertainment booth. Now, John Eblan is here. John, you're the model maker, one of the model makers behind their incredible line of these FE Masterworks series.
Yes.
You know, you weren't here last year at Comic-Con, but your work was here.
My work was here,
Your work was here. It was so impressive, so fun to see, and you've brought some new ships.
We got some new ships.
John, you know it's been like over 10 years since we've done these conversations at Comic-Con.
It's a wild ride watching us go through these and the evolution of well, I think you got married and had a baby.
I had two kids
that time.
now.
We raised families during all this.
And these are different kinds of babies.
They are.
And for folks out there who might not know, John, you're a veteran of the effects business.
Yes.
You did model making for Lucasfilm,
ILM,
real studio scale work.
Got a chance to work on some great pictures. Star Wars. Don't know if you've heard of it. Did some Star Wars. Did some Star Trek. Things like that.
And then for the past 10 years, then doing studio scale, basically taking all that expertise and doing stuff for collectors.
Being able to make filling miniatures available to folks who want them.
Yeah.
And that is such a great opportunity because they're beautiful pieces of art, and being able to create them, to offer them to people, it's an amazing opportunity for us.
And as I recall, because we're in front of the Enterprise E,
We are.
right? From first contact,
Yes.
the studio scale version of this, the large filming model, was one of the last physical models.
To my knowledge, she was one of the last Enterprise ships that was built as a physical. She was about 11 feet long. ILM Model Makers built her. I got to work with a lot of the great folks that worked on that ship, and I worked under them. It was so much fun.
And it's
so much fun.
25 years later, over 25 years later, that's crazy.
It is.
You're able to create your version of that studio scale model.
Yes.
Walk me through the features of this and the process building it.
Okay.
Now that you have refined your process, access to more tools and materials.
Well, it starts with getting the digital assets from the studio. They're extremely helpful in that respect of giving us exactly what we need to make a miniature of the Enterprise. So it starts there. So we take their digital assets, we turn them into basically the model kit that we want, the model kit of our dreams, because we're the ones that are building it, and we know where we want the seams to split. We know where we want to be able to get in, to have access ports, to be able to replace lighting, to upgrade certain parts. So we build that perfect kit for ourselves, and we try to work into that aspects of where we have to paint. Is it going to be difficult if this part is still attached to the model? How hard is it going to be to paint that model? Do we want to maybe take that piece off and add that piece later? Right. So we get to work all that and try to make as efficient of a build for us to put together. And this particular one, she went together like a dream. So we go from the digital files, we turn them into 3D files that we can print. We refer to watertight prints. And then so we print our files. We then take the printed files and we turn them into molds. So she's got a fiberglass hull, and so she's fiberglass. She's light, she's strong, and that was one of the important things when it comes to these large pieces. Is gravity is the enemy.
Drooping nacelles.
Drooping nacelles, drooping saucers. So if we can make her as strong as possible, but also make her as light as possible, that's where we want to go. So we start with that, and then we look at what type of metal is required on the inside.
An armature. What
type of armature is going to keep her straight and true, but for her lifetime. And then we go into that. So basically, we're building a metal starship, the internal armature, and then we plate her with her hull. And in this case, she's fiberglass. And we get to that point. Then it gets into the painting, obviously, and we try to put as much detail. If we can see the detail in our reference photography, we put that detail in there. Now, when it comes to the graphics, as best we can, we want to paint as many graphics on there as possible, as opposed to using any other format. We want to be able to get the nice tight details in there.
I'm noticing that just in the Aztecing, because Aztecing, as you explained to me when we chatted about this like 10 years ago, the unique textural pattern on the saucers.
Right, and we use that to break the model up to give it scale, of course.
Yes.
And if you can put your hand over it, and you'll feel the texture of the Aztec paint, because it is plating. It's in paint. So when the light hits it just right, you can see the deviation between the different panels. In her case, because we use flats, you want to be able to see those deviations again. So that's that perfect angle. You could see that she's comprised of a lot of different parts that just give her that scale. And so when you're looking at her, from any angle, you're looking at the idealized version of what you think the Enterprise E is.
And the idealized version of any starship for me has like a star in the background, the light grazing off of the surface.
Exactly.
So you're catching the specular right off. And so you're talking about different luminosities for light bouncing on the paint panel versus on the hull, and as much layering as you can, combining with, the escape pods, all that different texturing, and even the thickness of paint, giving some dimensionality.
Which does make a difference. And so that when that comes into play, we have to look at what airbrushes we're using, how much paint do we want to put down, versus do we want to go real light? Because there is a real light Aztecing, some panelizing.
I do see it,
that when you're up close, you notice as an individual, but as you back up, everything kind of starts to blur, and it kind of gives it that atmospheric effect of distance. So that's also one of the things that we try to achieve with these.
Which is a very different challenge than making a studio scale model for filming, which you might only need to, famously just shoot one side of it, right? Like here, a collector is going to be looking up close,
and they're going to be up close. They're going to be looking over every part of it. So we don't have the luxury of not having to paint the bottom or paint the starboard side or something like that. We've got to make sure that from every angle she looks beautiful.
And then, of course, lighting itself, right? Internal lighting.
The lighting itself.
Talk me through that part.
The lighting of a starship. That's part of the life of the starship. The ships are beautiful. The designs are amazing. But when you turn the lights on, when you see the red facades glowing, when you see the blue nacelles, when you see that, and the formation lights, it gives that ship that life. And it's just one more piece of the puzzle to making that filming miniature look as real as possible. So that again, when the collector looks at it, they're looking at the Enterprise, not a Enterprise, but the Enterprise. That's always our goal with our builds. Is that when you've got it, when you're bringing it home, there may be one of these, there may be 100 of these, but when you're in front of yours, this is the Enterprise, and that's
always
our goal.
Well, and a mix of static light and also active lights as well, blinking lights.
Now, a couple things that we did that's I'm going to say is unique to this Enterprise is the original filming miniature. The captain's yacht was built into the hull of the ship,
right?
And at that point, it was known that the captain's yacht was a separate piece, but it wasn't designed to be a separate piece. A few years ago, we got the assets from the studio for the actual captain's yacht, and what we did is we went into the 3D file that had the original captain's yacht in it, and we modified it, and we put the more up-to-date recent captain's yacht to it. So if you were looking at a photograph of the filming miniature of the First Contact Enterprise, you'd see it's slightly different. But what we did is we made it so that it's actually removable.
Oh, no way!
In the sense that she's locked up there with as a separate piece,
magnetically
attached. So then when she releases, the nacelles unfold, and she flies away separately,
as it was shown in Insurrection.
Right, exactly. So that gives the collector just that little separate piece.
Oh, love it.
Yep. So we thought that was a lot of fun. Yeah, so she goes up there with a magnet.
Well, it's also amazing because seeing the digital models online and games like Star Trek Online, and appreciating the history of Star Trek ship design. You've worked on replicas of original series ships.
I think we've pretty much done all of them. I think we've gone through the entire lineage of the Enterprise. I mean, even back to the NX-01.
And every generation, even though you may have two nacelles and a similar orientation, it's a different beast.
It is. It is. It's very different. We can see with some subtle details. There's always some homage to something of a previous Enterprise. On the E in particular, she's got these triangular details down below, which is a very prominent paint detail on the original series Enterprise. So the folks that originally designed these, they always like to keep some type of connection from the past into the present with whatever it is that they're designing. And it's when we get to study the models and we get to just really just look over them, it's amazing to see just the subtleties that the artists have put into those that we get to work with.
And when you say people who worked on the original, you mean John Eves?
John Eves,
who I heard stopped by and got to check out the model.
I believe so. I wasn't here when he was here, but I believe he was here. He did an amazing job designing the ship. Yeah. It's such a beautiful piece of art. And when we get to work on the practical ones, and we get to take the digital and turn it into the real, it's so much fun. I overuse that word, but I really get to have fun making spaceships for a living. It's not really a whole lot worse than that. So
it's the best job in the world.
I think so. And the other thing is that our work with CBS, they give us a lot of latitude. They give us as much information as we need. But when they don't have it, they trust us enough to be able to give it the detail that we think it needs, in order to just take it to that one extra added step that people want to see. We put detailed shuttle bays in both of them. Shuttle bays weren't really shown in the films. There's a little bit of artwork out there about it, but for the most part, we just had to kind of create them, and we do that based off of what we know about Star Trek, what our experience is. What does a shuttle bay look like? So we'll take that and we'll so the Enterprise D shuttle bay looked like this. Let's take the design elements of what they used in First Contact. Let's add that to the shuttle bay, and that's where we come up with a detailed shuttle bay that we feel is doing justice to the Enterprise E.
It's one of my favorite things about Star Trek is it feels believable. It may be a couple hundred years in the future, but every writer, illustrator, graphic designer contributes to some of that world building where everything has to make sense.
It does, and it really seems to make sense. And it's funny when I talk to folks and I start talking about the refit. Well, why is it called the refit? And we go into details as to what a refit is.
Yeah.
And how, the Navy, they refit their ships. They modernize them, so they'll change this out, they'll change that out. So there's always real world connections into everything that we see here, that it's so fun to learn about, and it's an education as well as enjoyable.
Well, John, I'm so glad that over 10 years later, since we first met in the halls, other side of Comic-Con, chatting about your studio scale models, that we get to chat again about some beautiful new models you've bought.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Okay, so now I'm here with Barry from Factory Entertainment. Barry's the creative director, the guy who makes this line of amazing ships happen.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't do it without the amazing artists. We got John Eblan here. We had John Eves yesterday. We got Ronald Moore over there. This is like kids' Christmas.
I know. We're standing here like, this is so cool. Your booth has some of the coolest stuff. And like this ship, this is John Eblan's work. It's his Reliant. It's so beautiful. Last year, you guys unveiled this line, this Masterworks line, and assuming it's been successful, right?
Well, last year we had 3 ships, now we got 7. So yeah, do the math. I mean, we're really pleased. I mean, we brought this stuff here because it's just great to show off. Like watching kids' faces when they come by and they see a ship in this size, because filming miniatures don't exist anymore. And then when they learn that these were not, these are replicas, but things like this were used by creative people to make film, you sit here and watch them, and I've seen so many kids with, iPhones zooming in and record. It's great. It's just lovely to have them here, and those people that have stepped up, because we do realize these are, they're a very high-end purchase. I mean, you're buying a piece of art, you're commissioning artists, because that's what these guys are. They're legitimate artists, and you're commissioning a piece of art, and we're honored to work with them, and we've enhanced our stable. We started with John, we've added some new artists in, and hey, we're looking for new artists. If you're a talented model maker out there, please get in touch with us or get in touch with Tested. We want to work with you.
That was my question. I was so curious. Like, obviously John is so well known in the community. He's doing it for over 10 years, making ships for collectors.
Oh, yeah.
But you also have other artists that you work with.
Oh, we have hundreds of hours of work of ships here, and finding people is the hard thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I have more ships I want to make than I have model makers for, which is a great problem to have. But let's just build this out and let's continue to make them, and let's do all of the weird and wonderful things. I mean, the Reliant is awesome, and just look at it. We got this face-off here from the Wrath of Khan going on, and when I took this out of the box, I was laughing. I was speaking to Fon Davis earlier, and he told me a story. I didn't know this. Apparently, this ship's upside down.
That's the original design.
The original design. Apparently, the director and the producer saw it upside down and were like, "No, we ship this upside down because gravity is not our friend on this one."
Yeah.
And when you take it out of the box upside down, it just looks so weird. It looks so wrong, and then you flip it back.
Well, it has that skiff look.
Yeah. Well, it's just unbalanced. Yeah. It's that magic equation kind of thing. This just has that perfect proportion.
And one of the great things for me is seeing these physicalized.
Yes.
The complex geometric detail is something you never get to appreciate, no matter how many times you've seen the film, how many times I've played the video games, like just all this extra stuff. You only notice it when you see it in person.
Well, you get to almost stand on the ship. Like, okay, you're a giant, but you get to get down close, and you can get in with the detail, and that is, we all did it when we were kids with our Star Wars toys and with our Dinky toys, and then this is like the ultimate. This is like taking that and dialing it up to 11.
Barry, I want to talk about the ship behind you.
Yeah.
Because this one John didn't do, but you work with a new artist to make the Phoenix here, also from First Contact.
Yes, we got a bit of a First Contact theme going on.
Yes.
We're only missing the Ball Queen skull, but so this is obviously we know this. This is the Phoenix. This is the daddy of them all. This is the original warp-capable ship, and this is made by a young model maker called Connor Ferreira. First time working with anybody professionally, and the guy's amazing. And this is the message we say to people. You can be the John Eblans of this world with this enormous pedigree, but you can also be a young guy from Canada who's never done this before. As long as you've got the nous and you know how to deliver, we'll work with you.
And you're gonna hook them up with the studio references.
Oh yeah, well he on his own bat, we John Eves is somebody I've got on my cell phone. I can call John Eves, and he goes, "Hi buddy," and I'm like, the other day he asked me a question about art direction. I said, I am not art directing John Eves. You tell me what you want. But he was so helpful with this. He gave us out a wealth of information. We had so many problems and so many issues with it because it's a real difficult model. The guys at ILM built it, and it's used in the film, but it was apparently a problematic model. It had articulated mechanical engines. We've got the manual because we just couldn't replicate the movement. But we've got so many other details we crammed in there, and it's great fun to pay homage. We've got some initials there from some of the creators of this who were behind it. Some of them who are still with us, and they can enjoy the homage, but Greg Jean's initials are on there. And I had the pleasure of working with Greg way back, and he's now no longer with us, and it's just nice to be able to pay a little bit of homage to all these guys behind the camera. You sit there and you watch the movie and you eat your popcorn, and you forget there's hundreds of people behind the camera involved in that magic, and that's one of the nice things about studio scale is you get to celebrate that a little bit.
And so fun to have at Comic-Con where someone like me can bring my camera and photograph it, and we can capture video.
Just watching the streams of people coming through one after another, and they're just, wow, and they just love it, and they get a few minutes with it, and we're going to try and do more shows. We're going to be at Star Trek Las Vegas. We're going to try and get these things out on the road. Is that the right term for a starship? I don't know. But we want to do more. You will see more from us. We'll have more, bigger too. You notice the E is a little bit larger because we're thinking big is beautiful. And we're going to go big, we're going to go crazy, and who knows what we'll get next. Tell us what we need to see next.
Yes, tell Barry what starships, Star Trek, or otherwise, the other licenses you have.
We work with a whole bunch of people. We'll do anything if there's an audience for it. I mean, obviously within reason. I asked a guy the other day, I said, what would you make if you could make anything? And he said, the Event Horizon from Event Horizon. I went, is that even physically possible in the realms of reality? So within reason, we can't break the laws of physics, guys. You sound like Scotty now.
Well, I'm so glad FE Masterworks has been successful these past 2 years. I know you guys do a bunch of other hand props as well.
Yes, we do, yeah.
Hand props, and we're promising we're going to cover those as well. Adam wants to see a tricorder that you guys have made, so we're going to have you over to the shop at the cave.
I may just die. No way.
So stay tuned for that.
I'm going to cry.
And I'm gonna spend the rest of my time getting some more photos of these wonderful ships. Barry,
Thank you.
Great to
Thanks,
see you.
man.
Thank you guys so much for watching that video. We have some brand new merch available at the store. A dog's age ago, I mean like 2018, 2019, this wonderful graphic designer named Brian Otterer reached out to us and sent us some stickers. He has a design firm called Dash 3 Dots, and we loved his stickers so much we wanted to sell them on the merch store. Well, he updated them with our new logo, and we've got Adam in Martian spacesuit sticker. We've got Adam in the shuttle suit sticker. We've got Adam in the Apollo suit sticker. And my personal favorite, Adam in the alien spacesuit sticker. Get yours now, tested-store.com. Hey!